Hi friends, welcome back to the kitchen. If you're new here, I'm Rebecca, and today we're jumping into some quick and easy holiday cookie recipes. These are perfect for Christmas baking, Christmas cookie boxes, or last minute gift ideas. Today I'm going to show you some of my absolute favorite quick and easy recipes that you can make all in one day. All these recipes are beginner friendly and they only use simple ingredients. So let's grab a cozy drink and let's get into the kitchen. First up, we're making whipped shortbread cookies. This classic Christmas cookie melts in your mouth. They're super soft and they literally only take a few minutes to put together. Even better, I'm gonna take this dough and we're gonna make 3 different cookies out of it. In a bowl, beat together 2 cups of softened, unsalted butter with a half a cup of white sugar and a half cup of icing sugar. Beat these for a few minutes until light and creamy. Then I'm going to mix in 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, a half teaspoon of baking soda, and a half teaspoon of salt. Add in 4 cups of all-purpose flour and then mix on low until the dough just comes together. And since I'm making 3 different cookies out of this recipe, I'm going to split it into 3 equal bowls. To make the classic whipped shortbread, I'm going to roll about a tablespoon's worth of dough into a ball. Place all the little balls onto a lined baking sheet. Then I'm just going to use a fork to make a depression on the top of each dough ball. And to add a little festive flair, I'm going to sprinkle the top of each with some holiday sprinkles. And my cookies are ready to bake in my preheated 300 degrees Fahrenheit or 150 degrees Celsius oven for 20 to 25 minutes. Now for the peppermint shortbread, the only difference is we're going to be adding some mint extract. We're going to be using food coloring to make them green. This is optional, but it will help you distinguish which ones are mint. And instead of the little Christmas sprinkles, we're going to be dipping them in mint chocolate. To this bowl, I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoons of mint extract, along with a few drops of green food coloring. And again, mix this dough on low until the green food coloring is evenly distributed. And just like I did for the whipped shortbread, I'm going to take about a tablespoon worth of dough and roll it into dough balls. Place them on a lined baking sheet, and then using the back of a fork, I'm going to make a depression in the top of each cookie. None of these cookies spread in the oven, so no need to chill. These cookies can go straight into the oven at the same time and temperature. Then you're going to need to let them cool completely before decorating. These cookies will still be quite delicate until they're completely set. Then they're ready to dip in melted mint chocolate and sprinkle with a few festive sprinkles. For the orange shortbread cookies, the only difference is we're going to be using some orange extract and we're going to be adding in some cardamom. I'm also going to be tinting them orange with food coloring, which is optional, and we're going to be dipping these in white chocolate. Now to my last section of dough, I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon of orange extract and 1 teaspoon of cardamom. Mix this on low just until the orange has spread its way throughout the dough. And just like we did for the other 2 cookies, roll them into little dough balls and place them on a lined baking sheet. I'm going to make my little fork depression on the top of each cookie, and they're ready to bake in my 300 degrees Fahrenheit or 150 degrees Celsius oven for 20 to 25 minutes. And just like the mint cookies, they're going to be quite delicate at the beginning, so let them cool completely before you dip them in the chocolate. After dipping them in the white chocolate, I'm just going to put them on a piece of plastic wrap for the white chocolate to set. But before the white chocolate starts to dry and set, make sure to add a few festive sprinkles. I love the classic whipped shortbread cookies, but these flavored ones are so delicious. The orange ones are so cute, and the green ones look extra festive. And for our next quick and easy cookie, we're going to be making classic snowball cookies. These are buttery, soft, and rolled in powdered sugar, which gives them that iconic snowy finish. We're going to make these extra special because we're going to put a little Hershey's Kiss in the center of each dough ball. Traditionally, these cookies are made with an almond flour or a different kind of nut flour, but we're going to make ours with just all-purpose flour today. That way there's no extra trips to the store, or if you're making them for anyone with nut allergies, they can enjoy these iconic cookies too. For these snowball cookies, in a large bowl, I'm going to beat together 2 cups of softened unsalted butter with 1 cup of powdered sugar and 1 teaspoon of salt. Beat in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract until light and fluffy. Then I'm going to add in 4 cups of all-purpose flour and mix on low until the dough just comes together. Make sure to scrape down the bottom and sides of the bowl a few times to make sure everything is getting mixed in evenly. Now all I need to do is section off about 1 tablespoon worth of dough and place an unwrapped chocolate in the center. Roll the dough into a ball around the chocolate, completely encasing it, and place the dough balls on a lined baking sheet. And no need to chill these cookies either, they're ready to go into my oven right away and bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius for 12 minutes or until the bottoms are lightly golden. I'm going to let the cookies cool just slightly until I can handle them. Then roll each warm cookie in the powdered sugar until they're well coated. Then I'm going to let them cool so the chocolate will set up in the middle. These are such a fun and festive bite-sized cookie. Next up, we're making chocolate crinkle cookies. These are soft, rich, and have that iconic crinkly, crackled top. You can make these with cocoa powder, but we're going to be using baker's chocolate today for an extra rich chocolate cookie. I have my little kitchen buddies helping me out with this cookie recipe. In a sauce pot, melt together a half cup of unsalted butter with 5 ounces of unsweetened baker's chocolate. The smaller you break up the chocolate pieces, the quicker it will melt. Now I'm going to set the chocolate aside to cool while I get on with the rest of the recipe. For my dry ingredients, I'm going to mix together 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and a half teaspoon of salt. I'm going to set this aside while I mix the wet ingredients. In a new bowl, beat together 4 eggs with 1 cup of white sugar and 1 cup of brown sugar. Mix in a teaspoon of vanilla extract and beat until the mixture is light and creamy. Now to my wet ingredients, I'm going to mix in my melted chocolate. Mix in half of the dry ingredients. Scrape down the bottom and sides of the bowl and then mix in the rest of the dry ingredients. Now I'm going to cover the bowl and let it chill in the fridge for 1 to 2 hours. Now that the dough is easier to handle, I'm going to roll it into little dough balls. Roll each one in a bowl of powdered sugar until it's completely coated. Place the dough balls spread out on a few lined baking sheets. These are going to spread once they hit the heat of the oven, which is what we want to give them that nice crackly top. And they're ready to go into my 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius oven and bake for 12 to 15 minutes. The cookies will be quite soft when they just come out of the oven, so let them sit for about 5 minutes on the tray. And of course, it wouldn't be Christmas without some gingerbread cookies. These cookies are super soft and are rolled in sugar right before baking to give each cookie a delicately crisp sugar coating on the outside. In a bowl, beat together 1.5 cups of softened butter with 1 cup of white sugar and 1 cup of brown sugar. I'm also going to add in a half cup of fancy molasses. Gingerbread cookies has that iconic color and flavor because of molasses. You're going to want to make sure that you're using fancy molasses or light molasses like I'm using here. Once the mixture is light and fluffy, I'm going to beat in 2 eggs, one at a time, scrape down the bottom and sides of the bowl after each addition. And for those iconic gingerbread spices, I'm going to mix in 3 teaspoons of ground ginger, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and a half teaspoon of ground clove. Sprinkle in 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, a half teaspoon of baking powder, and a half teaspoon of salt. Mix in 4.5 cups of all-purpose flour until the dough just comes together. And just like we've done for all the cookies we've been making today, I'm going to take about a tablespoon's worth of dough and roll them into dough balls. Then roll each dough ball in a bowl of white sugar. I'm going to place them on a few lined baking sheets and then using the bottom of a cup, press them out gently into little cookie shapes. And my gingerbread cookies are ready to go into my preheated 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius oven and bake for 10 to 12 minutes. Now I think these cookies are perfect just as they are, but if you want to give them an extra boost of festive charm, we're going to dip them in white chocolate. I have this teeny tiny crock pot that I think is made for dips, but I love using it for melting chocolate when it comes to baking Christmas cookies. It's so quick and easy, but you could also just as easily melt your chocolate in the microwave or on the stovetop. Once the cookies have cooled and set, decorate each one with some melted chocolate. Now you can decorate your cookies however you would like. My kids were loving making this little drizzled design on top of their cookies, but you could also just dip the corner and add a little festive sprinkle to the top. Next up, we're making another festive classic, thumbprint cookies. These little bite-sized cookies are super soft and tender and have a little dollop of jam right in the center. In a bowl, I'm going to beat together 1 cup of softened unsalted butter with a half cup of white sugar and a half cup of powdered sugar. Once the mixture is light and fluffy, I'm going to beat in 1 egg and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Sprinkle in a half teaspoon of baking powder and a half teaspoon of salt. Add in 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Mix this on low just until the dough comes together. And once again, I'm going to split this into little sections and roll each into a dough ball. Then I'm just using the back of a wooden spoon here, and I'm going to make a little depression in the center of each cookie. Just make sure to still leave a little bit of dough at the bottom. Then fill each little depression with some jam. Now to make sure these don't spread too much and my jam stays where it is, I am going to let these chill in the freezer for about 30 minutes. And then they're ready to bake in my 325 degrees Fahrenheit or 160 degrees Celsius oven for 12 to 15 minutes. Allow the cookies to cool and the jam to set in the center. And another classic Christmas cookie. If you bake them with the jam inside, then the jam sets up a little bit and makes it absolutely perfect texture in my opinion. And finally, we're gonna be making a no-bake recipe. These are haystack cookies. My grandmother made these every year at Christmas time, and they're definitely a family favorite in our house. I'm going to start this recipe with the chocolate sauce. In a sauce pot over medium heat, melt a half cup of unsalted butter with 1 cup of white sugar. Stir in a half cup of milk, 6 tablespoons of cocoa powder, a half teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Cook this over the heat until it starts to bubble and thicken slightly. Then you can remove it from the heat and stir in 1 cup of shredded, unsweetened coconut and 2½ cups of quick oats. It'll look quite liquidy at the beginning, but as the oats start to soak up the liquid, it'll start to thicken up. Now at this point, you can also add some mix-ins. Things like noodles, marshmallows, pretzel, cornflakes, nuts, potato sticks, or peanut butter. Or you can leave them just as they are, which I think is what I'm going to do today. I've let the mixture sit, cool, and thicken for a few minutes. And now I'm able to shape it into little mounds. Scoop about 1 to 2 tablespoons worth of the mixture onto a lined baking sheet. I'm going to set them aside to cool completely, which will allow them to dry out and set. You can also speed up this process by placing the tray in the refrigerator. And to add a little festive flair to my haystack cookies, I'm going to drizzle the top of each with a little bit of white chocolate. And of course, garnish with a little bit of festive sprinkles. And if you're making these for the holidays like me, this step really elevates them into a picture-perfect Christmas cookie. And as soon as these little bite-sized mounds have dried and cooled, they're ready to serve. They're the perfect soft and chewy chocolate cookie with a slightly gooey chocolate inside. This is the perfect quick and easy recipe to make with kids, because everyone can add their own mix-ins to their batch of cookies. And that's it, 8 quick and easy festive recipes to bring a little Christmas joy to your kitchen. Whether you're making these for Christmas gift boxes, hosting a holiday party, or preparing some dessert platters, all these treats are festive, simple, and completely delicious. If you want any of the printable recipes, measurements, or instructions, check the links in the description box below. Thanks for baking with me today, friends. Merry Christmas and happy baking! Hopefully this list of my favorite quick and easy Christmas cookies gives you some inspiration to bake up your own holiday treats. Let me know what your favorite Christmas cookies are in the comments below. Enjoy! If you're a fan of deliciously simple vintage recipes and old-fashioned skills, then you'll want to check out this next video. Thanks for stopping by.